Beth, Thorngren Studio Arts, with our 12th in the series. And this is our series that we're concentrating on fall images. I've chosen something very difficult for us today. I want you to challenge yourself. I challenged myself. I don't want you to be afraid. This image has a lot going on. We've got apples in a wooden bucket, and a pumpkin, and pine cone, and two pine cones. There's one hid in the back. Lots of overlapping with these leaves. Nice warm colors. It's a beautiful day outside. The first day of fall is coming up, September 22nd, next Tuesday. So I think this is nice and timely. I enjoy fall so much. Growing up in Texas, we didn't have fall. It was hot. The seasons are hot, hot, and hotter. Hot. Hot, hot, hot. 4 seasons of hot, rather. So, 8 by 10 canvas. You're going to do a cadmium yellow coat on it, fairly heavy, because we're going to utilize those colors within the background and the foreground. Sketching it out with a thin brush or a pencil. This is where you're going to need to really take your time and remember some of the tools that you have in your artistic knowledge kit that you've been developing. So what that is, you're going to take this image, and it is exactly 8 by 10, the exact size of your canvas. And you're going to kind of give yourself some tick marks, knowing that this is 8 by 10, and right at the corner, that's where that bucket should start. So I'm just going to give myself a little indication, and that's probably where, I think that's actually where I started. So I started there, and I'm just following the shapes. I'm not thinking about the objects themselves and what they are, remembering that these shapes have movement, and I'm looking for the direction. So this shape going this way and down, and then it goes down here and this way. Taking your time, looking where things line up. So we've got moving into this apple, the corner there. Another good tool, taking your pencil or paintbrush, any straight edge, and lining it up, exact size, and placing it on there. That's going to give me my angles. Taking my thumb and my forefinger, lining it up, gives me that exact angle of that apple. Moving on to the next. And what you're going to do is just really concentrate on where things are lining up. Where they touch, the adjacencies is what we call this. Where they are, things are adjacent to each other. The end of this leaf hitting that apple. End of this leaf hitting that apple. Now notice all this splotchiness. I started in the burnt sienna in my sketch, and I messed up. I went back and measured, and things weren't lining up correctly. So what I did, I just took my brush and I painted it out. No problem. This will evolve. Your painting will evolve. You'll be making corrections throughout the entire thing. And towards the end, it's always evolving. If this image scares you too much, break it down. You may want to just concentrate on the pumpkin alone, or maybe this area. It's fine. You are in control. Do whatever you want. I'm going to give you that freedom. You have that freedom. So, pause, get caught up with me. We'll get started. Okay. First off, I'm going to concentrate on the negative shapes in my background. These places that are around the leaves, think of it like a puzzle. So I'm going to get a medium-sized brush, dip it in the water, and I'm looking for that darkness. I've laid my colors out according to how I'm going to use them. I'm going to pull out some burnt sienna and some purple. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of burnt umber in there too. Mixing that all together. Got a nice consistency. I'm going to add a little bit more water. We want that pudding where it's working flowing, gonna flow very nicely. And I'm looking for these negative shapes. Look at that, it's like a puzzle right there. I've already kind of put it in when I made my mistake earlier. Putting this in my background. Background first. Look at this. Get that corner of that leaf, and then it comes up, and I'm telling myself these directions as I go, and you know what? I need my glasses. All right, that helps. That's a lot. Okay, there's a negative shape here around this leaf. Getting that dry, stumbly feeling. I need more paint and a little bit of water. Getting the area around these leaves. Another one in here. Here. Working my entire canvas at once. Negative place comes right down beside the bucket and the pumpkin, just into that pine cone there. Okay, so since my background is a little soft focus from this photograph that I have printed out here, I'm going to not be so concerned about the detail in that far, far background. I'm just going to suggest some of these leaves. With my paper towel, pull off this brown, and I'm going to give it a little wash. Head into green, pulling out green and yellow, mixing, a little more yellow. And I'm just going to paint where I see the green leaves. Not concerned about so much of the detail. Now this particular green leaf is a little more in focus, so I'm just going to put down the base of the green all over. Okay. I've got a real light one in the foreground. I'm going to add a little more yellow to that. Pull off. I'm not going to rinse because all these nice fall colors have a little bit of a color, the same colors all over. So now I'm going to head into some orange, maybe a little yellow. Place those where I see those. Remember, my objective is just to get things covered at the beginning. Nice and easy. No pressure, and then I can refine. There's some in the foreground. Go into this cadmium red. Not even worrying about cleaning my brush. Place those where I see some of those colors within these orange leaves. Over here. Oops, I missed the yellow one. You take your time on that drawing and get it exactly how you want it. The painting part is the easy part. I've been blending as I'm going, just kind of getting my edges, making sure everything's covered. Okay, now pull off, good clean. I still got a medium-sized brush. I'm going to mix up some burnt umber, burnt sienna, made, and just this ultramarine blue here. That's going to give me my darkest dark. I don't like to use black as a rule. Black is a non-color. It sucks the life out of your canvas, out of your paintings, drawings, what have you, because it's so flat. I'm going to come in here with the dark where I see some darkness and just kind of redraw this basket. Bucket, rather. I think it's a bucket. A wooden bucket. Okay. Pull off excess paint there. And some burnt sienna. Pull out a little white. Taking advantage of the dark already on my canvas, if I work quickly enough, I can blend. Have this dark with the brown and all my browns in the ultramarine blue. I'm just going to head into this pine cone and place those darks where I see them. I don't associate pine cones with fall. that seems more wintry to me. And there was one back in here, not so in focus. Place that in there. Just the darks for now. Okay, clean off. Now I have this purple and burnt sienna mixture from when I put in some of my negative spaces. Still fresh. I'm going to go right into these apples and just place where I see the darks quite heavily. I got a lot of paint on there. Look at the direction my brush is going, following the direction of my object. This particular apple in the background is moving this way. Okay, I left that yellow pieces. Big sirens in the big booming metropolis of Wilmington, Ohio. All right. Clean that off. Now I'm going to just oh, you know what I wanted to do instead of, I'm going to switch brushes. This was what I didn't do in my sketch. What I'm going to do now. So I'm going to switch to a larger size soft brush. Hit it with the water, it's pretty fluid, into my cadmium red. Now watch this, I'm just going to go the direction, taking advantage of those darker pieces. Watch that. Okay. Remember that my objective is to get everything covered. I know that looks very flat. In my sketch, I went back and I started getting darks against the lights. that push-pull game we talk about. Wherever there's a dark, there's a light. All right, now for the pumpkin. Medium-sized brush. Little burnt sienna with my cadmium yellow. And place in the darker pieces where I see them, excuse me. Same thing like the apples. Look at the segments on this pumpkin, the way that line goes, it curves in. So make sure you're following the line. I got that one a little wonky. Revising as you go. If you need to go over your initial sketch, that's perfectly all right. Place the darks where you see them. Wash off. I'm going to get that big brush again that I used. Nice and soft. Remember I talked about using the brushes that are replicate the texture. Pumpkin and apples very smooth, so we're going to use a nice smooth brush. And now I'm going to do the cadmium orange and a little yellow. Mix that out to the side. That's a really light pumpkin. Ooh, and I got some green. That happened in my... I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of white. Get rid of that. All right. Following the direction, just a nice few swoops. Look at this. Swoop. Comes another fire engine or okay. Got a lot of paint on there. Pull this off. And a little white. We'll hit some of these highlights in here. Coming this way. I like to do that when it's fairly wet so that I can blend it to get the smoothness. I've got a little harsh edge. I'm going to dry off my brush a little bit and just kind of tap it and blend it, work it, feather it back and forth into the... I almost have full coverage and then I'm ready for my details. Tell you what I haven't planned for that. This is detailing what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's switch to a smaller brush. Smallest brush here. Do the stem. I've got that black mixture that was the ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Following the lines. And redraw this with the paint. Now I can put some white in there. Pull off the paint on my brush so that I can kind of soften these hard edges, tapping it. Okay. Now I can do burnt sienna and the white that I did for the bucket. I'm going to add more white to it and I get that handle. Now that handle is going back in space, so in order to get that exact angle, line your brush up, measure it, and just don't move it, and then come this way, okay? That's the bottom, and that's the top. Go back with some burnt umber, a little darker, in that darker mixture. Now, into that darker mixture, back again, and I'm going to add a little white to it. And hit the tops of those pine cones here. A little white. Here, the other pine cone. Now for the wire that's connecting the handle here into that white and dark mixture there. Now do this quick and easy. Don't stress out about it. You're going to start here at that one curve. Have your thin brush and then just head on over. If you skip some places, that's okay. Kind of go back over it. Now, I'm just going to touch where it's lighter in places. And the light is hitting. Okay. And then it's curving back out of the other end of the handle, back around. Okay, full coverage. Now I'm ready for the fun part, all that detailing. This apple is in front of this apple, so I'm going to do back into my purple, into the burnt sienna, maybe just a little bit blue. Redefine, redraw, sharpen up these edges. There's places that you don't have a lot of coverage. You can see the canvas peeking through. That's what we're doing now. And you know, I see that I got this leaf too far over. Like, that's so great about acrylic, because I can just paint over and redefine. And I just kind of give this a little more. Okay, so this one is in front. Pay attention to where things are, where things overlap. That little handle is in front, so it's going to be lighter. I'm going to give that apple a little more oomph right in here. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. The lights against the dark, where things are overlapping. Look and see the edges and where they line up. And right there you can place some little tricks. That's going to be lighter, that's going to be darker. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, but I just really want you to concentrate on where things are, you know, adjacent and overlapping. So, happy painting, and we will see what Adrienne comes up with. I talked to her earlier, and I think she is going to just zoom in on an area of this, and that's, you know, perfectly all right. If you feel like this is too overwhelming, go for it. Do it a little bit, make it simplify it, okay? Thanks a lot. See you next week.